Hey guys, and welcome to Writing 101. I'm going to walk you through the basics of the writing process here first, okay? And so I want to show you what that kind of entails. Now, everything that we're going to be talking about in this particular series does apply specifically to expository forms of writing. So while there might be some implications whenever it comes to how to do like creative forms, that's really not what this video is about. So just kind of keep that in mind as you move forward. So first thing I want to make sure that we get is there are three elements that I use when I am talking about the writing process: organization, evidence, and convention. So if you write an essay for me, those are the three elements that are going to be on your scoring guide every single time so that you can track with me and see, okay, this is what I'm doing well in, this is what I'm not. So I've got that organization and evidence piece down, but really what's bringing me down each time in my grade is my convention. So that's the area that I really need to focus on. So I just want to make sure you understand what those pieces are. So first, when we're talking about organization, specifically, we are talking about a couple things. Number one, does it actually make sense? So, do you have good, solid logic in? Well, I keep clicking that. Sorry. In your essay. So we're talking cohesive flow between the paragraphs. There needs to be a purpose for why you put this paragraph in front of this paragraph in front of this paragraph. It has to be one cohesive unit. It has to make sense. It also needs to be structurally sound as well. So for the institutions that I work, you are required to write MLA format. And I know for some people that freaks you out because you use other formats in other classes, but realistically, if you can do like APA, you can do MLA. They're very, very similar, and so we will conquer that together. But that's another portion of that grade is how well did you adhere to those MLA expectations. And then also, what did you do as far as structural approach? Did you pick an approach that fits whatever topic you are writing about? So, for example, chronological approaches tend to work best for like research-based essays as you are taking events in the sequence in which they occurred. Spatial order is going to be almost exclusively used in descriptive narratives or some kind of descriptive essay where you are describing like a place or a room. You're not just bouncing us around from one place to another, but you like logically move us around. Like you walk into the door, you turn to the right, and we move with you through the room. Emphatic is what you're going to use most often in like any kind of argumentation where you're going to save your stronger arguments for the end. So all your arguments are strong. You're just bringing us there to where we're getting more and more convinced as we go. And then your simple to complex would be something like maybe a process essay or an exemplification essay. You start with less complex terms, less complex concepts, and then you move us more complex as we go. Then, when we're talking evidence, we're looking at the actual meat of your essay, the content that is in there. Okay, so a few things you want to keep in mind. It's got to be relevant and unified, which means you have to really hammer in that thesis statement and those main ideas. So that thesis statement is the guideline that the rest of your essay needs to follow. And so if anything else in your essay does not fall under the big umbrella of your thesis statement, either your thesis is broken or that stuff needs to be taken out. Okay, so it's got to be relevant. It's got to be on topic, got to be connected, right? Using those main ideas as your bridges. It needs to be specific. Okay, so not only does your details need to be specific, but also your language. And we need to keep this in mind because we don't speak specifically so often as individuals. We use vague terms, but you got to avoid those in your writing. So don't use words like thing or stuff. If you do, think about what that thing is and use that word as well, or instead rather. It also needs to be adequate, which means you have to have enough information. So often people ask me like, well, what if your length requirement is 3 pages? And I'm like 2 3/4. Is that enough? And the answer is always going to be, I don't know. Like until I've looked at your essay, I can't tell you that because you could have like 6 pages over the length requirement and still not have enough because did you do what the prompt required of you? Did you present the arguments in such a way that you have given enough evidence to support your claims? If that's the case, then, if it's a little bit short, no big deal. But if that's not the case, then that's when we're going to have an issue regardless of what the length is going to be. So make sure you have enough to actually support your claims. Okay. I think that's where I stopped last time because this video like randomly disappeared. So I'll stop here for right now and then you can pick up with part 2. Have a great day, guys. Make wise decisions and Merry Christmas.